Thursday. On my way down to men's Bible study. I believe it's the 31st of March, almost April Fool's tomorrow. So anyhow, headed down, so it's dark, so sorry for the light. But that's the best I can do with what I got. So anyhow, I had an interesting question posed to me this morning on the Facebook thing from a gentleman asking me what I want to do about license plates. And because he basically said that I was wonderfully crazy. Wow. I take that as kind of a tribute and an honor. Yeah, maybe crazy. No. Some say maybe stupid. No. How would I describe that? Is that I don't have any fear against these people or what they may do. Because what's at stake is much greater than just one person alone. I mean, it's our freedom. And I think over a few of the videos we've discussed freedom as being paramount. But the gentleman's question was a valid question. And I have thought a bit about this for years, like I said in my response to him, is that, because these things are controlled by the state. These are revenues and controls. When you get your driver's licenses and when you get your license plates, you really are submitting yourself and your vehicle to the state, because now the state becomes the owner of it, because you actually voluntarily sign it over by accepting their license plates and their identification, their birth certificates and stuff like that. But that's a long story. That's for another day. But anyhow, what you have to keep in mind is that the state's control of us is huge in every category, and it's all revenue stream. So let's not forget that. So in order to really break away from that, you have to recognize that this is a corporation and that it's not an actual state according to the 10th Amendment of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. States' rights, I agree. I am in emphatic agreement. But since we became a state in 79? Somebody correct me. I'm usually off on my dates a little bit, but you get the general idea. And when we signed on as a state, did I lose it? It says battery. Okay, my battery fell out of my cigarette lighter. Sorry about that. And the battery's low on this camera. So anyhow, when we signed on as a state after 1871, we were recognizing that at that time, even though we followed the original Constitution and the Bill of Rights, which thank God, that we were signing on to being a state. Now, if they knew this or not at the time, I do not know. If it was a full game or a shuffleboard game, I do not know. But we signed on with the promise that the state would be under the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. And over a period of time, that has kind of waned, hasn't it? And no pun intended for the name. God. I laugh at my own jokes, and that's sad. But anyhow, once we form our General Assemblies and we recognize that it is no longer a valid state, that it is a corporation, we can, under the assemblies, actually secede from the state because it is not truly under the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence as we were told it would be. It is not that. And I know when we did the initiatives here a few years ago, we found that out emphatically. All the way to the state Supreme Court, and they still denied it over the cover story that we violated the statute of limitations. Well, excuse me, when there's fraud and corruption, there is no statute. But in order for them to cover themselves, and we played into their game. And we cannot be allowed to play into their game again, folks, because they will manipulate us through the judicial system, and also, too, because the sheriff goes along to get along, whatever the case, friends, whatever the case may be. I think he knows what I mean by friends. Him and Jeff Wilson, the judge over in Durango, that dictates to us, and we built that courthouse for, and he won't even attend. I went to a hearing the other day, and it was all Zoom. I mean, really? We built this place for you, Jeff, and you don't show up? You do it via the internet? Oh, give me a frickin' break. Wow, what a slap and an insult to us. But I think legitimately he's afraid to come over here. And rightfully so. because the injustices that man has done, and don't get me wrong, he's done some good too, but the majority of it has been injustices. But let's get back to the license plate thing. We could go down that road forever. Yeah, it won't be I'll make a proposal, and I've thought about this, like I said on the onset, for years. In order for us to break the license plates and a lot of different things that they hold over on us, we have to be I can't find the word. We have to be aware that as we leave the state, those responsibilities of managing our county, where the state has done before and controlled us, will be up to us. That's where I said in the last video, we need to get up and start organizing this thing, folks, if we're going to do it. And with that management comes responsibility. And we cannot shirk our responsibility to the community. We have infrastructure, including water treatment plants that are undersized and that need to be done. Oh my God, we got a litany of things that needs to be done. In order to do that, it takes revenue. We're going to have to form our own bank. Our Treasury Department has also said in public meetings is the bank of the county. We're going to have to rely on that. We're going to have to change the rules. And we will start putting our money, because once we sever the tie to the state, that means all financial support to the state stops. Everything that goes to the state stops. It's got to. We got to put that money in this town to use it for ourselves. And part of that is what do we do about IDs and driver's license plates? Well, I think this is just a proposal, but this is an idea that I've thought about for a long time, that we get a mileage sticker, a yearly mileage sticker, and that way we tax depending on the amount that you use the road. Some people very seldom use the roads, but people use them all the time. Why should the people that are not hardly using them pay for those that are using them, and especially with all the newer people coming in, abusing our roads lately? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, everybody can agree to that one, can't we? Yeah. Holy smokes, the roads are terrible. And I don't see that's going to be a huge responsibility right up off the top, and we're going to have to be able to address it and save revenues to do it. We're no longer going to borrow. Lord knows we're in debt enough with the jail and the courthouse and all of the other abuse that has occurred in our economy, where our money has vanished, or who knows where it's gone and for what purpose it's gone. All that's got to come to light. And of course, there's a whole different ball game there too, of who's going to be held accountable for all that stuff that they violated our trust, because that's our money. Our trust was violated, and that needs to be addressed. It can't be forgotten. And so I'm proposing a sticker. I don't know. What do y'all think about that? That won't be my decision, because it's going to be your decision. As we form our assemblies, we're going to have to start planning how we're going to manage this county. And that's just one of many issues that's going to have to be discussed and resolved by all of us. And this isn't going to happen overnight, folks. We have to cut the snake off the head right away, so we can do this. But this isn't going to happen overnight. There's going to be disagreement. There's going to be concerns. But in my mind, we push forward. If we want to have a free county and start this ball game, we have to be able to manage freedom, because with great freedom comes great responsibility. Please don't forget that. Just because you're free doesn't mean, I can do whatever I want and blah, blah. Yeah, you can, but you also still have to realize that you live in a community, and that takes responsibility, and that takes cooperation, and that takes people coming together to manage the county. It's not going to happen by itself. We got to do it. So we got a plan for it. In every category. And so, there's going to be a lot of discussion. But for now, what we got to do is we got to get in. And we got to get in. And that's the bottom line. We got to get in order to make change. If we don't get in, we're never going to make change. And we're all going to sit back and mumble and grumble. And, do you want to continue going down that road, everybody? Mumble and grumbling, where's that fucking got you? Or me or anybody else? So and they're controlling us on all levels now. Yeah, I talked to a friend that we had a huge disagreement over all this, because she calls it drinks the lemonade, but I think she's drinking the lemonade. I love her dearly. She's a sister to me. But, we started talking about Biden, and I don't pay much attention to the natural stuff. That's just a sideshow. About Biden wanting to give everybody $300 to substitute for gas. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, I'll take it. I need it. I'm not going to be honest with you. I think it's bullshit, but, if they're going to give it, I'm going to take it. Holy smokes. My gas bill for the last 2 months has been over $1,000. And I hate to think, and that was before the prices started spiking to $4.19, $4.25, and then now it's $4, in some places $4.47. I think it came down the other day for a few cents, but in a lot of other places it's a hell of a lot more expensive. And that takes a whole lot of revenue. We've had to cut our budget like all of you had to cut your budgets. We're trying to find ways that we can still continue, but, I had to cut back on some medical care. Nothing serious, just I like to stay in shape. And Katie McCulley does a wonderful job as a chiropractor. I had to give her my notice, under that $150 contract, which is a great contract. But, I got to we have to tighten our belts. And so we had to do away with that. So I'm going to suffer because of that, because I'm not going to get, after I go to the hot tubs and do my stretches, I'm not going to be able to get pulled back in line. I'm an old man. Christ, everything's falling apart. What are you going to do? It's just the way it is. And so, yeah, we've had to cut back on food and to maintain this. So I don't know how many, I'm trying to maintain my 3 trips down to town that I can a week. Sometimes if there's something important that comes up, I got to come down. But, driving this old truck at 10, 11 miles to the gallon, and believe me, it's a great old truck. I can feel every bump in the road, which is good, because Lord knows the roads are so bad. I'm going through shocks and bearings and wear and tear, and with all the mag chloride, having to keep the damn thing washed. It's $12 just to wash the undercarriage off every time getting this crap off the bottom of my truck. You all that live on the dirt roads know exactly what I'm fucking talking about. It's a pain in the ass. And so anyhow, $300 if that's per person, that'd give my wife and I $600. That might, and if he does that per month, well, then I can increase my trips down, and my gas bill won't be $1,000. It'll be $400. But that's still a lot of frickin' money, for gas. Holy smokes, that's a big chunk of change too. So I empathize with a lot of you that are struggling with all this crap too. But in order for us to break those controls and the manipulations of us, we've got to break away and understand that we are being lied to, we are being fooled, manipulated, controlled. I hate to keep bringing up, Mr. Manzanares, but that's a classic example of a police state in fear. And then they spank these guys. Oh, here we go. Off they go to another county. Just like the judges. The judges do the same damn thing. Oh, I'm sure old Christian Champagne's all disappointed that becoming from a district attorney, not being able to be a judge, really frosted his cookies. But you know what? They all play their little games up there in that bar association that controls our judicial system. And we're being laughed at because we follow along like sheep. Nah, come on, folks. Don't want to be put in that category, do we? So anyhow, that's it for my morning rant, I guess. But, that was the question. There's a lot of things that are going to go on. And that was a good question. It's going to bring up a lot of things that we're going to have to address as a county if we're going to manage our county. And let's not forget, we still have the financial obligations that we have to maintain. As far as the debt of the jail and the courthouse, I think that's going to be a major discussion. And if they do sell the downtown courthouse for a song and not let us vote on that, because that's our building, not theirs, we paid for it, we should have a say-so in what happens to it. Be it tear it down, be it sell it, be it build a new one. I don't know, There's a lot of factors involved in that, but it should be up to us to vote and make that decision, not just a handful of people that are going to benefit from it. I get tired of seeing this crap happen in our town. And think of the congestion that's going to bring if it ends up being another frickin' resort. Oh my God, yeah. Because, the hot tub springs run underneath there too. They could dig all that shit up, make it another fountain there and a waterfall and whatever they want to do, and bring an attraction, and us locals will end up paying and subsidizing it through the infrastructure, and we won't even be able to be allowed to go there, just like the one across the street. I mean, wow, I know a lot of people can go because they have friends and they get different things, but as a whole, wow, bullshit. I mean, yeah. Do we want that type of attitude to continue, to our town to be a separate town, like Vale and Aspen and towns like that are, controlled by the few and the rest of us are to serve them? No. I'm sorry. That's a bunch of bullshit. That building needs to be voted on by all of us. And you need to call the BOCC and make your objections known. Don't sit back anymore. Make your voice heard. Agree or disagree with me. Make your voice heard. Get out there and say something. Otherwise, the same shit's going to continue, and we're all going to do is grumble. And when we had a chance to do something about it, and that's now. After this next election cycle, it will be all over. It'll be all over. If we don't get our foothold in there and start getting our people in there, it will be all over, folks. I can guarantee you that. And I don't know. That brings up a whole other issue. At what point does that turn to get violent? Yeah. So if we can avoid that, yes, please. But I hope that's not the end game. But anyhow, there's my story for this morning as I'm driving down and trying to stay a bit more of the light. The last video I did, you couldn't really see me. This one I turned on both lights. You can see me a little better. Kind of look like a little wizard there, or a hobbit or some darn thing. I'm not quite sure which one. My mustache isn't up to par yet, but it's early. I'm driving down, relaxing, and doing this, and I also want to thank all the people that are supporting me out there. That's a really great thing. If you can throw in $5 or something and help me offset some of these expenses coming down, so I can come down more, that would be greatly appreciated. $5-10. That's even if it's a dollar, it all adds up. And if I can help, keep myself going down by doing some of this gas and the wear and tear on this baby, that would be greatly appreciated. And so anyhow, okay, hey, well, that's it. There's my plug. God, I hated to do that. That just kind of goes against my grain, having to ask for that. I'm sorry, but I don't know what else to do. You got to kind of at some point reach out and see if people want you to keep going or not. So that's it. That's as simple as that. Y'all have a wonderful morning. Hey, and happy April Fool's tomorrow. And have a great weekend. Looks like the weather. Oh, there's some deer. Be careful. Looks like it's going to be a great weekend. Okay, bye-bye.